This is section 13, the summary of the neurophysiology component. Sensory systems transmit information from the environment to the CNS via specialized sensory receptors and a series of first, second, third, and fourth order neurons in the CNS. We've discussed sensory receptors including mechanoreceptors, photoreceptors, chemoreceptors, thermoreceptors, and nociceptors. A stimulus is converted to electrical energy in the sensory receptors via a transduction process which result in receptor potentials. Somatosensory and pain systems process information about touch, position, pain, and temperature using the dorsal column and the anterolateral systems. The visual system detects and interprets light stimuli. Photoreceptors are rods and cones of the retina which hyperpolarize in response to light. Photoreceptors synapse on bipolar cells and horizontal cells of the retina, where they release excitatory or inhibitory neurotransmitters. The output cells of the retina are ganglion cells, whose axons form the optic nerves. The optic nerves synapse in the lateral geniculate nucleus of the thalamus. Fibers from each nasal hemiretina cross at the optic chiasm and ascend contralaterally. Fibers from each temporal hemiretina ascend ipsilaterally. The auditory system involves transduction of sound waves. The mechanoreceptors are auditory hair cells located in the organ of corti of the inner ear. Bending of cilia on the hair cells produces an oscillating receptor potential. Location of the hair cells along the basilar membrane encodes frequency. The vestibular system is used to maintain equilibrium and balance. Vestibular hair cells are mechanoreceptors located in the ampullae of semicircular canals and in otolith organs. The semicircular canals detect angular acceleration of the head, and the otolith organs detect linear acceleration. The chemical senses are olfaction and gustation. Olfactory epithelium contains olfactory receptor cells, which are also primary afferent neurons. Axons from these neurons pass through the cribriform plate and synapse and glomeruli of the olfactory bulb. Taste receptors are found on taste buds, which are organized in papillae. Muscle spindles are composed of intrafusal fibers and are arranged in parallel with extrafusal muscle fibers. Muscle spindles are stretch receptors which detect changes in muscle length when extrafusal fibers contract or relax. Spinal cord reflexes include the stretch reflex, which is monosynaptic, the Golgi tendon reflex, which is disynaptic, and the flexor withdrawal reflex, which is multisynaptic. Descending motor pathways from the cerebral cortex and brainstem are divided among the pyramidal tract and the extrapyramidal tract. Pyramidal tracts pass through the medulla and synapse on lower motor neurons in the spinal cord. Extrapyramidal tracts include rubrospinal, pontine, reticulospinal, medullary reticulospinal, lateral vestibulospinal, and tectospinal tracts. The cerebellum regulates movement by controlling synergy. The cerebellar cortex includes a granular layer, a Purkinje cell layer, and a molecular layer. The output of the cerebellar cortex is via axons of Purkinje cells and is always inhibitory. Disorders of the cerebellum cause ataxia. Basal ganglia are deep nuclei of the telencephalon, which are involved in planning and execution of smooth movements. The motor cortex includes premotor and supplementary cortices, which are responsible for generating a motor plan. The primary motor cortex is responsible for execution of the motor plan. In the next few slides, we will do some questions and answers. Challenge yourself. Answer each question with a word, phrase, sentence, or numerical solution. When a list of possible answers is supplied with the question, one, more than one, or none of the choices may be correct. Correct answers are provided at the end of the book. Question 1. Cutting which of the following leads to total blindness in the right eye? Optic chiasm, left optic tract, right optic nerve, or left optic nerve? Answer, right optic nerve. A ballerina, right optic nerve. A ballerina spins to the right. When she suddenly stops spinning, which way will her eyes move? Answer to the left. Answer to the left. Hint, post-rotatory nystagmus is in the opposite direction of the original rotation. Question 3. How many motor neurons are in a motor unit? Question 3. How many motor neurons are in a motor unit? Answer 1. Question 4. Which of the following reflexes comprise only one synapse? Knee-jerk reflex, Golgi tendon reflex, stretch reflex, the reflex involved when one removes a hand from a hot stove. Answer: knee-jerk reflex, the stretch reflex. Knee-jerk reflex, the stretch reflex. In which type of receptor, phasic or tonic, does the receptor potential fall below threshold, even as the stimulus continues? Answer: phasic. Answer: phasic. Put these photoreception events in their correct order. Release of neurotransmitter, decreased cyclic GMP, light, conversion of 11-cis-rhodopsin to all trans-rhodopsin, transducin, hyperpolarization, closure of sodium channels. Answer: first light, then conversion of 11-cis-rhodopsin to all trans-rhodopsin, then transducin, then decreased cyclic GMP, then closure of sodium channels, then hyperpolarization, then release of neurotransmitter. Question 7. Hyperpolarizing receptor potential makes the membrane potential more or less negative and increases or decreases the likelihood of an action potential occurring. Answer: a hyperpolarizing receptor potential makes the membrane potential more negative and decreases the likelihood of an action potential. Question 8. Indicate whether each of the following is activated, inhibited, or unchanged. Question 8. Indicate whether each of the following is activated, inhibited, or unchanged in the operation of the Golgi tendon reflex. Golgi organ, activated. 1A afferent fibers, unchanged. 1B afferent fibers, activated. Inhibitory interneurons, activated. Alpha motor neurons, inhibited. Question 9. Which of the following is or are found in higher concentration in blood than in CSF? Protein, osmolarity, magnesium, glucose, sodium, potassium. Answer: protein, glucose, potassium. Answer: protein, glucose, potassium. Question 10. If the head is rotated to the right, which horizontal semicircular canal, right or left, is activated during the initial rotation? Also, when the head stops rotating, which canal, right or left, is activated? Initial rotation to the right canal is activated. When the head stops rotating, the left canal is activated. Question 11. Compared to the base, the apex of the basilar membrane is wider or narrower, is more or less compliant, and responds to higher or lower frequencies. Answer: compared to the base, the apex of the basilar membrane is wider, is more compliant, and responds to lower frequencies. Concludes section 13, the summary. It also concludes the neurophysiology section of the Costanza textbook. Concludes section